Imagine waking up in one country, stepping into a glowing chamber and reappearing on the other side of the planet in less than a second. No airports, no visas stamped into a passport, no long flights over oceans. Just a brief flash of light, a rush of energy, and suddenly, you're somewhere else. Now imagine that same technology being regulated like an international border. That is the world of teleportation immigration systems, a future where the movement of human beings is no longer limited by distance, but by law, algorithms, and digital identity. For most of human history, migration has been defined by physical hardship. People crossed deserts, oceans, and mountains to find opportunity, safety, or survival. Then came ships, trains, and airplanes, shrinking the world step by step. Teleportation doesn't just shrink the world, it erases distance entirely. And once distance disappears, everything about borders, citizenship, security, and even identity must be reinvented from the ground up. To understand how teleportation immigration would work, we first need to understand teleportation itself. Not the science fiction version where people dissolve into sparkles, but the plausible scientific foundations being explored right now. At its core, teleportation is not about moving a body through space like a flying object. It's about transferring the complete informational structure of a person from one location to another and reconstructing it perfectly. Every atom, every neural connection, every chemical state would be mapped, transmitted, and rebuilt. The original matter might be disassembled into energy, or it might be left intact while an identical copy is created elsewhere, depending on the design of the system. Either way, what matters for immigration is that a human being can cross any border instantly. In a future world where teleportation is safe, reliable, and affordable, traditional borders collapse overnight. You no longer need a passport to physically cross a fence or a checkpoint. You just need access to a teleportation gate. That is why immigration control would no longer be about geography. It would be about access to networks. Teleportation Immigration Systems, or TIS for short, would function as the digital nervous system of global movement. Every teleportation node, every chamber, platform, or portal would be connected to a planetary migration authority. Before a person could teleport, their identity would be authenticated in real time. Their legal status would be verified against international databases. Their permissions, restrictions, medical clearances, criminal records, and even behavioral risk scores could be evaluated in milliseconds. Immigration would no longer happen at physical borders. It would happen at the moment of dematerialization. You wouldn't pass through customs after you arrive. You would be cleared before you even leave. Your body would stand inside the teleportation chamber, while an AI performs a full legal sweep of your digital identity. Are you authorized to enter the destination nation? Are you on any watch lists? Are there outstanding warrants, disease quarantines, or economic restrictions attached to your profile? Are you a citizen, a visitor, a refugee, a worker, or an exile? All of that would be determined instantly. If anything fails verification, the teleportation simply doesn't activate. No guards, no interrogation rooms, no physical barriers, just a lock on reality itself. In this world, immigration becomes a software function. One of the most dramatic consequences of teleportation immigration is the death of illegal border crossing as we know it. You cannot sneak across a teleportation network. There is no river to swim, no wall to climb, no shipping container to hide inside. Every legal teleport jump is logged, time-stamped, geolocated, and cryptographically sealed. Unauthorized teleportation would only be possible through hacked or black market teleport nodes, and those would become the most hunted illegal devices on Earth. Smugglers would no longer move people across land. They would move encryption keys, identity forgeries, and access credentials. Human trafficking would evolve into data trafficking. Instead of forging passports, Criminals would attempt to forge teleportation identities that can pass AI immigration systems. A single stolen biometric profile could allow someone to teleport into a country as another person entirely. That raises one of the most terrifying questions of teleportation immigration. If your body can be reconstructed anywhere, what truly defines your legal identity? Your DNA? Your brain pattern? Your quantum signature? Your digital record stored in government servers? In a teleportation society, identity theft is no longer about money. It is about hijacking a human existence. Now imagine the refugee crisis in a teleportation-enabled world. In today's world, refugees flee violence by foot, by boat, by overcrowded transport. Many die before ever reaching safety. With teleportation, a family fleeing war could legally or illegally appear in a safe country in seconds. The humanitarian potential is staggering. No children drowning at sea. No months of wandering through hostile terrain. No refugee camps growing into permanent cities. A single teleport authorization could relocate millions almost instantly. But this also terrifies governments. In a teleportation world, mass migration is no longer slow. It is explosive. If a nation collapses today, it might take years for millions of people to migrate elsewhere. With teleportation, it could happen overnight. A sudden political collapse could result in 10 million people relocating in a single day. Infrastructure, housing, food systems, and political stability would be tested beyond anything in history. That is why teleportation immigration systems would not be designed simply to manage movement. They would be designed to throttle it. AI would calculate how many people a destination nation can absorb per hour, per day, per year. Immigration would become a flow-controlled system rather than a gate-kept one. Instead of asking who is allowed in, governments would ask how fast people are allowed in. This leads to the rise of what could be called dynamic citizenship. Citizenship in a teleportation world may no longer be permanent. Instead, it could become a fluid status that changes based on movement, economic contribution, behavior, or even planetary demand. A person could be a citizen of one nation while physically residing in another nation every day through instant teleport work commuting. You could live in one country, eat in another, work in a third, and sleep in a fourth, all within the same 24-hour cycle. Nationality becomes disconnected from location. A surgeon could teleport to a disaster zone for a 4-hour emergency operation, then return home before dinner. A factory worker could appear inside an automated plant on the other side of the earth for a single shift, and then vanish back to their hometown. Teleportation immigration transforms labor into a global fluid, no longer constrained by borders or travel time. This would revolutionize economies and destabilize them. Wages would rapidly equalize across the planet. If a worker in one country is paid 10 times more than a worker in another country for the same job, teleportation instantly creates competition. Companies would no longer outsource factories. They would outsource people in real time. The highest-paying jobs could be flooded by global labor unless strict teleportation work visas exist. So teleportation immigration systems would not just regulate entry. They would regulate purpose. Each teleport jump could require a declared intent: work, tourism, education, medical, asylum, family, or transit. Deviating from your declared purpose could result in automatic penalties, denial of future access, or even forced relocation. This is where the entertainment aspect turns dark. Because in such a system, freedom of movement would be technically possible for everyone, but legally allowed only for some. The technology could allow universal travel, but the law could restrict it more tightly than ever before in human history. Physical borders are messy. People slip through. Teleport borders are perfect. They never blink. They never sleep. And they cannot be bribed, unless someone hacks the code. Now imagine the black market for teleportation access. Hidden teleport pads in abandoned buildings. portable teleport extractors powered by illegal energy cores, pirate jump networks that bypass government immigration servers. Entire shadow societies could exist between legal locations, using off-grid nodes that appear nowhere on official maps. People could become teleport fugitives, individuals whose identities are flagged across all legal networks, forcing them to live only through illegal jumps, constantly moving between hidden nodes to avoid capture. Law enforcement would not chase criminals through streets. They would hunt quantum signatures through space-time. This creates a new type of border crime: teleportation evasion. Immigration officers would no longer carry guns. They would carry access control algorithms. Deportation would not require transport vans or airplanes. An unauthorized individual could simply be reverse teleported back to their place of origin, or to an international holding zone floating in orbit or located in an uninhabited region of the planet. Yes, detention centers might become literal teleport prisons, where inmates are contained inside dimensional lock zones that prevent any unauthorized jumps. In this world, the concept of asylum itself transforms. A person seeking asylum would not arrive at a physical border begging for entry. They would digitally petition multiple countries simultaneously. AI systems would evaluate their risk, story, history, and threat profile. One nation might deny them while another offers instant sanctuary. The moment approval occurs, the asylum seeker could be physically relocated in seconds. Hope would arrive at the speed of light. But danger would too, because teleportation nullifies geographic protection. Today, a political dissident can flee across borders and hide. With teleportation surveillance, location becomes transparent. A hostile regime could potentially track a person's teleport signature across the world unless they are shielded by international protection protocols. That means immigration systems would double as planetary surveillance networks. The same infrastructure that protects borders would watch the movements of humanity like a heartbeat monitor. Supporters would argue that this brings peace, security, and efficiency. Terrorists can no longer smuggle themselves across borders unnoticed. Pandemics can be instantly contained by blocking teleport access from infected zones. Stolen goods cannot be transported through physical space. Entire classes of crime vanish. Critics would argue that this is the end of true freedom of movement, that humanity has traded physical liberty for algorithmic permission, that every step across the world must now be approved by invisible machines. Now consider family life in a teleportation immigration world. Long-distance relationships disappear. International marriages no longer require relocation. A parent could live in one country and attend their child's school event on another continent every morning. Elderly parents could receive daily visits from relatives scattered across the globe. Cultural exchange explodes. Languages blend faster than ever. National cuisines mix in real time. Traditions travel instantly. Fashion trends move at the speed of teleport. Entire cities become hyper-international zones where residents change daily. But there is a psychological cost. If anywhere is always accessible, nowhere feels distant. The sense of place erodes. The meaning of home becomes abstract. Some people may develop teleport fatigue, the mental strain of constantly recontextualizing their surroundings as they jump between radically different environments in seconds. The brain evolved to travel slowly. Teleportation breaks that rhythm. To address this, future immigration systems might include neurological adaptation limits. You might be restricted to a certain number of intercontinental jumps per week to protect your cognitive health. Teleportation could become medically regulated like a drug. Now imagine how nationalism changes. In a teleportation world, physical territory matters less than network sovereignty. A nation becomes less about land and more about data jurisdiction. The most powerful countries may be those that control the largest teleport networks, the most access nodes, and the most desirable destinations. Some nations may become teleport hubs, supernodes through which massive portions of humanity pass every day. Others may become isolated by policy, not geography. A country could physically exist on Earth, yet be effectively sealed off from the world simply by removing or disabling its teleport access points. No ships blockading ports. No aircraft patrolling airspace. Just a software switch turned off. A nation could be erased from global movement with a command. This introduces the terrifying possibility of teleport sanctions. Instead of economic sanctions that limit trade, future governments could impose teleport bans that isolate entire populations instantly. No one in or out. No trade. No relief. A digital siege on a physical society. Now consider the philosophical implications. If teleportation reconstructs your body elsewhere using new matter, is the person who arrives truly you, or just a perfect copy while the original was destroyed? Immigration law historically assumes continuity of the physical person. Teleportation challenges that assumption. If the original body is disassembled during teleportation, does that count as death at the point of departure and birth at the point of arrival? If so, does immigration technically involve the legal death of a citizen and the creation of a foreign national every time you teleport between countries? Legal philosophers would spend centuries arguing this. Religions would fracture. Some would declare teleportation a form of suicide followed by cloning. Others would embrace it as spiritual ascension. Some nations might ban teleportation for religious reasons, while others mandate it for efficiency. Teleportation immigration systems would be forced to take sides in those debates. They would need to define legally whether teleportation preserves the continuity of the soul, the self, and legal personhood. The outcomes of those decisions would reshape law itself. Now imagine children born into this world. A child could grow up teleporting daily to schools in different countries. One day learning mathematics in Asia, the next day studying music in Europe, and the next day science in North America, all within the same week. Childhood would become globally distributed. Education would become truly planetary. Friendships would no longer be defined by neighborhood. They would be defined by teleport networks. A child's best friend might live on the opposite side of the planet, yet be physically present every afternoon. But this also creates class division. Access to teleportation will likely begin as an elite privilege. Early systems will be expensive, tightly regulated, and limited in capacity. Wealthy individuals and corporations will enjoy instant global movement, while billions remain stuck with conventional travel. This creates a physical caste system of mobility. Those who can teleport live in a borderless world. Those who cannot remain trapped in geographic reality. Teleportation immigration systems would therefore become one of the most politically explosive infrastructures in history. Wars may no longer be fought over land alone, but over control of teleport grids. Sabotaging a nation's teleport infrastructure could cripple its economy overnight without firing a single missile. Now imagine warfare in a world with teleport immigration. Soldiers no longer deploy through oceans and skies. They teleport directly onto battlefields. But immigration systems would attempt to block hostile military teleportation. Warfare would involve hacking enemy immigration firewalls to allow troop insertion. Battles would be fought not just with weapons, but with code. Borders become algorithms. War becomes a cybersecurity event with casualties. Even more disturbingly, a hostile power could attempt to teleport weapons directly into civilian zones if they breach immigration safeguards. That means teleportation immigration systems would be the first and last line of planetary defense. They would be humanity's immune system. Now, let's talk about tourism. Tourism explodes beyond imagination. You could have breakfast in New York, lunch in Paris, dinner in Tokyo, and watch the northern lights in Iceland before midnight. Entire industries built around airports, hotels near terminals, long-haul flights, and travel logistics would collapse. New industries would emerge around teleport experience design, teleport tourism packages, and real-time global hospitality. Cities would compete not for airport traffic, but for teleport desirability. Clean air, safety, culture, climate, and digital services would determine how often people choose to appear there. Urban design would shift to maximize teleport arrival zones rather than road access. Each city might have thousands of micro-teleport arrival nodes embedded in parks, buildings, plazas, and homes. Even prisons may change. Instead of housing inmates in physical cells, authorities could enforce teleport exile. Criminals could be permanently banned from entire regions of Earth via teleport denial. A person could be physically alive, yet mathematically prevented from entering certain zones of reality. Now imagine identity under this system. Your legal existence would be attached to a teleport profile. That profile would store not just your citizenship and visas, but your movement history, risk score, economic activity, and behavioral tendencies. Every jump would increase or decrease your trust level within the global system. Good behavior could grant you wider teleport access. Bad behavior could shrink your allowed movement radius. Freedom becomes programmable. For the first time in history, the human species could be geographically unified by technology, yet separated by access tiers more precise than anything ever seen before. Supporters would say this brings unprecedented safety. Criminals cannot hide. Diseases cannot spread uncontrollably. Borders become peaceful because they become invisible. Opponents would warn that this creates the perfect infrastructure for totalitarian planetary control. A world where a person's ability to exist somewhere can be revoked instantly by software. No exile by boat. No physical removal. Just a quiet denial of access to reality zones. Now, imagine a system error. A glitch in the Teleportation Immigration System could strand millions mid-jump or lock entire cities out of the global network. A software update could accidentally render entire national populations immobile. A cyber attack could rewrite migration permissions at scale. Migration would no longer be a human process. It would be a technical dependency. And yet, the benefits remain breathtaking. Medical immigration becomes instant. Doctors teleport to patients. Patients teleport to hospitals. Organ donors teleport organs in seconds. Disaster zones receive immediate global response. Famine relief appears instantly. Emergency evacuations happen in moments instead of months. The line between domestic and international disappears. In such a world, humanity itself effectively becomes a single planetary population with configurable movement rules. War becomes harder to localize. Isolation becomes artificial. Cultural convergence accelerates at an exponential rate. Teleportation immigration systems may ultimately be the mechanism that turns humanity into one civilization, instead of thousands of competing fragments. Or they may become the most powerful control apparatus ever created. The future of teleportation immigration is not just about how we move. It is about who decides where we are allowed to exist. And perhaps the most unsettling question of all is this. When you step into a teleport chamber and vanish from one nation to rise in another, when your body becomes data for a fraction of a second, does your legal self travel with you? Or is it reborn under the permission of machines? In a world where distance no longer protects you, borders no longer block you, and location no longer limits you, immigration is no longer a journey. It is a line of code. And that code will shape the future of human freedom, security, identity, and civilization itself. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Your support helps this channel grow. Thank you for watching.